strike with you today, and I was listening intently on that gentleman from Jersey where I came from 9 years ago, and you don't know what it's like unless you're in the strike and you're a participant. That's for sure. There's a last card you have to deal when you're a worker, and the boss don't want to listen. Your family suffers, but I guess the people that should be most thankful that they do go on strike are the ones that sit on the boss's laps in the office, because they may be out of work now, but those workers are picking up the pay raise for them also, even though they're not in the union. They definitely will get a raise after these people get settled with. Don't you agree?
No, sir. I fully expect the union, Eastern to go belly up.
Pardon?
I fully expect Eastern, sir, to go belly up, out of business.
That is a shame. But the image that a strike exposes to people that have never been in it, they don't realize that once these poor guys go on strike, all their benefits cease. They go to the hospital, it's out of their pocket.
Well, yes, sir. I think everybody does understand that when you're on strike, the company does not continue to pay you or provide your benefits. I think almost all of us understand that. By the way, I want to send out a very, very special hello to Nancy Alexander, to, of course, the person who is monitoring for Mason Dixon. I would be delighted to give out your name, except, of course, over there at Foo 105, they don't give out the names of the people behind the big voice, like bone butts there. But we're glad to have you along this afternoon. We understand that you listen frequently, and you will probably be listening a hell of a lot more frequently. We appreciate that. We appreciate it very much. No, we're not necessarily listening to you. We just know you guys listen to us. St. Petersburg. Hi there, St. You're on the air at 970 WFLA. Doing great.
Hey, listen, Bob, I want to thank you. Really, I just don't know how to thank you enough for all you've been doing today for the employees of Eastern Airlines who are on strike and those who lost their job yesterday. I hope that the Hillsborough Port Authority have the biggest traffic jam tonight that they ever had, just like income tax time, I hope everybody goes out there and gives the guys support. We really need it.
I hope so, too, because it's not just really for the guys at Eastern. It's in essence for all of us. It's to put an end to this kind of crap that's going on all over this country all the time.
Well, that's true, Bob. The labor movement has really been taking a big step backwards. And I just like to let the public know some of the conditions that we have to work on under and why we, like you say, put our foot down. We don't want it anymore.
Well, you got about 30 seconds to do it.
Okay, the RAP servicemen in Tampa International Airport over the last year and a half contributed $10,000 to their fellow employees who got time off unjustly. The threat of if you got sick and you had to take time off because you're in a hospital or whatever, if you came back to work, the company would give you an additional time off just because you're not supposed to use your sick leave. And it goes on and on and on. And that's just one of many, many episodes that we have to put up with, that we had to put up with. And again, I just want to take the time out to thank you. And I hope the Port Authority tonight has so many cars there that they'll not dislike you, but pay more attention to what you have to say. Thanks again, Bob.
I'll see you there. Be good.
Thank you.
Take care. Don Richards standing by at the WFLA News Desk. Donald, we're in the habit of getting involved in on-air radio wars, per se. I know that it may sound like that from time to time, but basically I do it because I know that there are people listening who shouldn't be listening, and I like to tweak their cheeks. But there is something going on this afternoon that I find awfully, awfully amusing. Okay, last night, out at the airport, some of the guys picketing mentioned to me that they were really very, very hurt that old Mason Dixon, if I know his lard ass, I guess he's bone butt, but old Mason Dixon said some very unkind things on the air about the strikers, because apparently Mason doesn't really know a hell of a lot about what's going on. But, he just wanted to pretend as though he did. Hey, I'm Mason Dixon. I know everything in the whole wide world. Great, Mason. Glad to hear it. But those guys were very hurt. There were Q105 listeners. They were apparently Mason Dixon fans, and they really thought that it was a pretty cheap shot. So I mentioned that during the course of the program this afternoon, because I thought it was a pretty cheap shot, too. I thought it was kind of a really dumb, sleazy thing to do. When you're part of management, you're trying to pretend to be one of the boys, and you don't know what you're talking about. Well, this started a little thing, a little tit-a-tat between the Mason-Dixon fans and the Lassiter fans. Of course, I can't figure out for the life of me what the Mason-Dixon fans were doing listening to me when Mason was on. I mean, we were on at the same time. And some calls were made back and forth, and Mason said off the air some very unpleasant things, called me lard ass, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, he knew who I was, when I was working, so forth and so on, as any intelligent radio person would. So at least, he does look over his shoulder, and I suppose he should. Does very well, has extremely high numbers. But it went a little bit further, and somebody gave us a private number and said Mason wanted to debate me, or would be willing to, or something along those lines. So we called during the newscast, during the Paul Harvey thing, and finally got through to Mason. And Mason, first of all, starts screaming, "Don't tape this. This is not for airplay. Don't tape this. Don't tape this. Do not tape this, what I'm about to say. Don't tape it." And then goes into this little dissertation about, hey, I've been in this market for 11 years, I've worked my way up the hard way. I've got great numbers, and I'm not going to go share them with Lassiter. I'm not going to do this with Lassiter. No way. I'm not going to help him out. Well, first of all, that amused me very much because, yes, he has been in the market for 11 years, and he's got humongous numbers. No two ways about that. You can't deny reality. But I found it very amusing because I, of course, take the position that if I'm good enough for you to listen to, it's because I'm good. And it doesn't make a damn bit of difference who else is on the air. I'll take my chances with him, but obviously Mason must fear me. And fear losing some of his listeners to me. He must feel as though they don't know that I exist, and if they did know that I exist, they wouldn't listen to him, they'd listen to me. Well, maybe Mason's a hell of a lot smarter than he looks. But nonetheless, what I would suggest to Mason, since he is fearful of losing some of his listeners to me, that's what he said. But he has insulted an awful lot of people who are RBQ fans, who probably aren't even listening to this broadcast, although I suspect Mason has somebody monitoring it for him. So he doesn't have to worry about that. They aren't listening to me. They're RBQ fans. They're Mason-Dixon fans, but he's insulted them and insulted them deeply, and he should, A, apologize to them, and B, put the other side of the story on. No, he doesn't have to have Lassiter to give the other side of the story. He could get somebody perhaps from the union to do so. I defy you, Mason. I know that you'll find out about this, but I defy you to put the other side of the story on. I defy you to give a little bit of fair play to those thousands of Tampa Bay Eastern Airline employees and their families who are RBQ listeners. If you got the guts, Mason, if you have any ideas what the entire story is. Okay, enough of that. By the way, speaking of airplanes and things of that nature, Robin Richards wants to go to Ocho Rios in Jamaica. So Robin sent us a card to the Learjet Fantasy Contest. It has been selected, Robin. You are a lucky young person there in Safety Harbor. We will put it into the Big Bin March 16th. March 16th. Alan Gardner will dip into the Big Bin, pull out the lucky winner of the Learjet Fantasy trip, anywhere 1,200 miles within Tampa International Airport, $1,000 in cash. Next drawing coming up on the Ted Webb Sports Huddle at about 6:30 tonight. Tampa, hi Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello, Bob.
Hello.
I also want you to know I'd rather listen to you than Mason any day, but the reason I'm calling is
Mason must fear that could spread.
Hopefully it will, especially after his remarks. I haven't actually heard the remarks, but if anything, hurting the Eastern people like that, they need all the support they get.
I swear to you, it really is a shame that we didn't have the ability to tape it because we would have probably played it anyway, but my ear was up to the phone as Michael was talking to him. And the guy's just going, I've been in this market for 11 years. I'm going to help Lassiter out. Let him go listeners on his own. I've been here 11 years. Great. It was funny.
Oh, he's scared, that's all.
No, he's not scared. He's just being a jerk. He has nothing to fear. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
I'm still here.
Okay.
But the reason I'm calling, I just turned on to you just about within the last hour, and I was in here making cookies, and I heard about you're trying to get people to go down and support Eastern. I was thinking about doing it anyway, but now I have these cookies here, so I'm going to take them down some cookies right now. And
fantastic.
I'm sure I don't have enough for everybody, but I think it's a thought that counts and to show that there's some support. What I wanted to know, I'm going now. Mm-hmm. Where exactly are they when you drive into the airport?
Okay, there are 3 locations. There's one out by the Eastern Freight Terminal. Mm-hmm. Off of Hillsborough. There's another location just as you're coming into the airport around, if you were coming in off the interstate.
Yeah, or off Boy Scout or something like that.
Right.
Okay.
And then there's another location actually at the airport terminal. That's where I'll be tonight. It's right by the door that you would go in to buy your tickets for Eastern. It's right by the departure.
So they're actually in the airport?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to head out there now. I just wanted to find out
I'll be
where
there at all 3 locations until 10 o'clock tonight.
Okay. Well, again, I think what you're doing is great, supporting them like this because they need all the help that they can get, and I really think it's wonderful how they're sticking up for their rights, too.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye, Bob.
Bye-bye. There are times in a radio broadcaster's career when things happen that you can hardly believe. For example, tomorrow night I shall be at Calb's Cove, and I have the unmitigated gall to invite you to come out and watch me eat. And that's in essence what it amounts to. I mean, that is literally in essence what it amounts to. I'm saying I'll be at Calb's Cove probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 7:15, 7:30 tomorrow, and that you are more than welcome to come out and watch me eat. I can't begin to imagine why you would want to, but nonetheless, I'll be there, and I would hope that you would be there. And really the best thing about going to Calb's Cove is not watching me eat, but eating yourself. The food is out of this world. The atmosphere out of this world. Calb's Cove. They're in Madeira Beach, 13155 Gulf Boulevard. Let me give you the telephone number, 393-3448. 393-3448. You can do no better than Calb's Cove. So if tomorrow night, you're in the neighborhood and maybe there's somebody that you'd like to say thank you to, or I love you, or congratulations, or one of those things, come on out to Calb's Cove. Okay? Let me give you the address again, 13155 Gulf Boulevard, Madeira Beach. The telephone number, 393-3448. I'll be there somewhere around 7 o'clock tomorrow night. I recommend the Italian Gentleman, but you can have whatever you want at Calb's Cove. Don Richards standing by at the WFLA News Desk.